What is going on, everyone? Leon checking in, and today we're at it again with another video. So if you're new to the channel, it's important for me to let you know that this is one video in a series of in-depth videos about the Pixel 4 XL. So why are we so focused on the Pixel 4 XL? Well, that's because the channel is called Pixels Cracked, and the name Pixels was influenced by Google's hardware line, Pixel. But we don't just talk about the Pixel phones. We also talk about the Pixelbook, the Pixelbook Go, which that'll be coming soon, Nest products, and any other Google hardware and software and other hardware and software related to Google products. Now, there are a lot of tech reviewers who review a whole bunch of tech, but for me, I'm looking to take a more simple approach and just focus on a small amount of tech, but go more in depth. So that's why we have a whole playlist dedicated to the Pixel 4 XL. And now we will be adding this video and future videos to this playlist. So what are we talking about today? We are talking about the Google Pixel 4 XL battery, of course. Now this is a very exciting topic for me because it seems like there is a lot of negativity just around the battery alone. According to other tech reviewers, the battery is generally poor at worst and mediocre at best. I wanted to set out on a mission to see if this is true. I wanted to see my results and share with others to give another point of view. The goal of this video is to show the battery life you might expect if you were using the Pixel 4 XL from factory settings. When I say using the Pixel 4 XL from factory settings, that means I'm using the Pixel 4 XL basically the way it is when you turn it on. We are using the phone just the way it is, with the exception that I updated and installed apps that would make the phone useful to me. What this means is we didn't use motion sense in this part of the battery test, and this was intentional. I wanted to have a control to compare against when we do finally use motion sense and check the battery performance. With that being said, we will be testing the Pixel 4 XL battery performance with motion sense turned on in the next video titled Pixel 4 XL battery results part 2. So in order to keep this video nice and simple, we're going to post screenshots of my Pixel 4 XL battery performance right here. We're going to start by talking about how this works. So as you can see in this screenshot, we have the Pixel 4 XL battery at 100% charge. This is how I started the device every single morning for the next 4 days. You can also see here that the phone has typical background battery usage. You can also see that battery saver is off, and I didn't use it at all for the 4 days that I tested the battery performance. Adaptive battery was also turned on by default. I didn't turn that on, and that limits battery for infrequently used apps. So what we have here in the next screenshot is day 1. So again, we started the battery at 100% at about 8 in the morning, and what you're seeing here is the battery at 8:35 p.m. Now, that's a little bit more than 12 hours later, and you can see we still have 12% left. Now, according to the Pixel 4 XL, it's also saying that the battery should last to about 10:45 p.m. Again, you can see that battery saver is turned off here. Adaptive battery is also still on. And we have an estimate that a full charge should last about 16 hours and 30 minutes. Now there is one more line here. You can see that the screen usage since the full charge was about 5 hours and 2 minutes. Now you can see this graph goes down pretty smoothly here, which I like to see. Now the battery performance to me is pretty impressive because you can see I used maps for about 6 hours. You can also see that I used Google Play Music for about 6.5 hours. Now to me this is pretty good because on the Pixel 3 XL that I had, I would have to charge multiple times per day just to keep going throughout the day. But with the Pixel 4 XL, you can see here that I was able to make it through a whole day. I didn't have to recharge at any part of the day, and I didn't have to turn on battery saver. Now, as you can see on the next screenshot here, this is going to be day 2 of the battery results. So again, we started the battery at 100% at about 8 in the morning, and you can see we have 16% left, and it's almost 9 p.m. We also have on the Pixel 4 XL that the battery should last to about 11 p.m. Again, battery saver is turned off, never was turned on at all throughout the day. We're still using adaptive battery. The Google Pixel 4 XL is saying that a full charge should last about 16 hours and 45 minutes. And screen usage since full charge has been about 7 hours. Again, that graph, it looks very smooth. It's going down at a nice smooth rate. So as you can see in this battery usage here, I used maps a lot less, and I don't have Google Play Music showing up in here. But I did use Chrome browser a little bit more. So it looks like I really wasn't using the apps as much as I did on day 1. And that explains why we have a slight increase in battery performance. So now on to day 3, and again we started at 100% at about 8 in the morning. Now you can see we have 14% battery left, and it's about 7:30 p.m. Again, battery saver is turned off, didn't turn it on at all throughout the day. Adaptive battery was restricted for 1 app. Now again, I did update and add apps to make the phone usable for me, so I probably restricted an app that I either updated or added to the phone. Now the Google Pixel 4 XL is telling us the battery should last about 17 hours and 30 minutes, and screen usage since full charge was about 6 hours. You can see that we kind of started out pretty level, but then it went down again pretty smoothly here. I used Google Maps for about 2.5 hours. I played King of Fighter All Stars for about 10 minutes. Now, if you take a look at this for a moment, you're gonna see something interesting. When we played King of Fighter All Stars, which is a game, you can see it used quite a bit of battery in just that short amount of time, 10 minutes. Now, this is going to be a little concerning here if you're someone who's going to be gaming on this phone. Potentially, you might be using a lot of battery very quickly. Now in this screenshot here, this is the last day of the battery results. And you're going to see the screen looks a little bit different, and that's because this day was basically my leisure day, and I wanted to change things just a little bit, so I did turn on the dark theme. So I think this is important. I want to let people know that, again, we use the phone generally from factory settings, but I did update the apps and install apps that I did need to make the phone usable for me, and I did change the theme to the dark theme. So again, we started the phone at 100% at about 8 in the morning, and you can see we have about 13% left, and it's about 9 p.m. Now, the cool thing to see here is that the phone was used more than normal. And this makes sense because it was my leisure day. You can see that battery saver is turned off, and again, it wasn't turned on at all throughout the day. For adaptive battery, again, we have 1 restricted app. Pixel 4 XL is telling us that a full charge should last about 16 hours and 45 minutes. And this is also impressive. We have a screen usage since full charge of about 8.5 hours. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next screenshot here. We have battery usage. Now again, this is on day 4. We use the phone a little bit differently, which is something that I like to see. You can see that we use Google Play Music for about 1.5 hours. We also have King of Fighter All Stars in here, and that consumed about 8%, but it didn't record how much time we used the app. And I'm thinking this is because I was actually updating the app, but I didn't actually use it. Meaning I had started the app up and it was downloading resources, but again, I didn't actually use it. You can see we have Instagram on here for about 1 hour and 4 minutes. I think that's important to see because I think a lot of people do use Instagram. I have YouTube on here for about 24 minutes. We use Documents for about 1 hour. We used our password manager LastPass for about 1 hour. And the Pixel Launcher was used for about 45 minutes. Okay, so the conclusion on the Pixel 4 XL. Before we go ahead and get to that, I want to throw in a did you know. So I did an unboxing and installation of the OtterBox Defender series case for the Pixel 4 XL, and it actually comes with a holster too, which is very nice. But I didn't know that the holster can actually be used as a stand as well. Now, I want to thank Jordan in the comments section because, again, I didn't know this. He pointed it out, and I actually tried this morning, and I was very excited about it. So you have the clip on the back, and it actually locks out, and then you can use it as a stand for the Pixel 4 XL. And I thought this was really cool too because the first thing I thought about was Android gaming. Basically pairing the Pixel 4 XL with a gamepad, and then you can actually game here while holding the controller with the phone propped up. So this is also a case here which I would recommend for gaming. Again, that's very cool. And it's even cooler when you consider that we have Google Stadia coming this month. Anyways, going back to the battery results of the Pixel 4 XL, and I gotta say that they're nothing short of impressive. Now again, we did use the Pixel 4 XL with factory settings. So what that means is we're gonna have to make another video here. It's going to be titled Pixel 4 XL Battery Results Part 2. Now in the next video, we're gonna be trying a few different things. But more importantly, you want to turn on motion sense and see how that affects the battery usage. But with the phone as it is, I was very excited. I was able to use the phone all day throughout the day without having to charge a single time in the day. This was actually quite unusual for me because with the Pixel 3 XL, I was having battery performance issues. I would have to charge the phone maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the day just to make it through the whole day. Also, I think that the phone is really optimized more than ever now. and that can be seen with the apps. Now, there is an exception. When using a gaming app such as King of Fighters, there was more battery drainage than usual. And again, I think that was only because it was a game, it's more intensive. And the results are also inconclusive because I only used one game and I didn't really use it for all that long. So maybe in the next video, we can also try to do a little more gaming and see how that affects the battery performance. Now, looking into the next video here and have the motion sense turned on, I do expect that motion sense is going to drain the battery faster. Now, the reason I believe this is for several reasons. First, motion sense is new, so it's going to need feedback to be improved, and it doesn't have it yet. Basically, if you're a reviewer or a consumer this early on, you're basically the test subject. So I think we need to go in with an open mind here, knowing that the performance here might not be all that great yet. At this early on, this probably hasn't been optimized for the phone yet. So when you see all the negative battery reviews, I think it's important to keep in mind that this hasn't been out all that long. It's not like it's been out for a whole year and this is still the battery performance. Now, the next thing to consider when using motion sense in regards to battery usage is that the technology probably does use quite a bit of battery. Basically, you have more features that are turned on to keep track of what you, the user, are doing. So it only makes sense that the battery performance is going to decrease because of that. The next thing to consider about why the battery will probably go down with motion sense turned on is because motion sense may be paired with another app. What this means is when you're using motion sense, you're probably using another app with it. And that's going to decrease the battery performance probably by twice the amount or so. But the question is, how much will motion sense drain the battery? Will I have to start to charge midday or even more often? All this and more in the Pixel 4 XL battery results part 2. So that is pretty much it for this video today. If you enjoyed it and found it useful, make sure to leave a like. Now, liking the video is very important because it allows other people to see that this video might be useful. It has good information and people who watched it enjoyed it. So when you hit the like button, that means that you liked it and other people who haven't watched it yet will probably like it as well. If you have any questions or comments, always drop those down below and I'll do my best to answer them. Now, there are 3 ways you can support this channel, and that's what keeps the channel going. You don't have to pay a subscription or anything. The first thing you can do is share this video with someone who might find it useful. The next thing you can do is head on over to my Amazon storefront. That's where I post new technology that I end up purchasing or that I find very fascinating that I would purchase. Now, the way the Amazon storefront works is if you purchase anything from any of my lists, it does help support the channel. Now, the last way you support the channel is by hitting that subscribe button, and that's just like the likes. It's basically the way you review the channel. So by hitting the subscribe button, you're basically making the vote that this channel is pretty good and it's worth sticking around to watch future videos. So that is pretty much it for this video today, and until next time, Leon checking out.